our first speaker. So yeah, thank you.
Kalau kuat. Ready. 我觉得也可以。Yeah. Okay, by phone. Okay. It's covering very tight.
Hi, good morning everybody once again. So we're gonna start in 1 minute's time. So if I can just invite everybody to already head inwards, we'll be very grateful. So yeah, please grab your coffee, grab your food, and we'll start in a minute's time. And we are not waiting for anybody who's still in the foyer. So we'll see you inside. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Alright, good morning everybody. It's a really exciting day. I think the weather looks pretty good today. I'm not sure how everybody else feels. So we'll just give everybody a little time just to find a comfortable seat, so just scoot in.
Say that.
Right, so I'd like to officially welcome everybody to the Infracon X Growthcon event today. And this is a part of the Token 2049 event that's been happening. So yes, bear with me, I do have to go through a little short introduction to give credits to people who made all of this happen. So, Infracon X Growthcon, it is a single-day event that is showcasing the most innovative thought leaders from progressive Web3 teams. And it is a one-time collaboration between the Infracon and the Growthcon organizers. So you're in for some really special milestone today. Infracon is presented by Economy, Particle Network, Transect, and Polyhedra, and it is a single-day exploration into 3 cornerstone track blockchain technology: account extraction, wallet infrastructure, and zero-knowledge technology. So for today's event, we're really proud to have all 4 of our organizers put together a really good team to make all of this happen. In this year alone, they have already organized 3 events and have put together more than 80 speakers with more than 3,000 event attendees. So that's quite a huge turnout, I'll say. And soon, Infracon will travel to mainland New York City next week, as well as Dev Connect at Istanbul in November, where they'll be hosting founders and developers alike, focused on seeking the most actionable use cases and technological resources. So Growthcon is led by Sending Labs, and it is an event series focused on user growth and adoption by the masses. Okay, that's a mouthful, so I hope that everybody's feeling good and ready for today. So we have our very first speaker already present here. So, to kickstart today's session, we have Potter, who is from the co-founder of EH Sign, and he'll be sharing with us all about the ultimate fundraising and management solution for Web3 founders and investors. So, Potter.
How's everybody doing today? Not tonight yet. Alright, the reason I want to talk about this topic is definitely not because ETHSign raised from 3 branches of Sequoia, even if we did. But before I talk about this topic, I think fundraising and token management is oftentimes the most interested topic in this space. And people are wondering, how do crypto founders do fundraising, and how is it different from the traditional Web2 founders or so? And especially because we're in this token market, and it's a little slightly different from how the traditional equity holds out, and how to manage the cap table, and how to manage the token cap table, and how to distribute your tokens to your investors is oftentimes another big questions that people ask a lot. And before I get into the topic, I want to give an introduction about myself. My name is Potter, co-founder of the ETHSign, leading the business development and marketing side of things here, and joined crypto in 2017. Slightly later founded the blockchain organization at USC, grew from 3 people to now 1,000 people. And founded ETHSign in 2020, and here I'm going to get a bit deeper. So, as we all know that token market is a truly global market, and nowadays there's like 10x crypto Web3 founders, with 10x investors, and with 10x like jurisdictions around the globe, which makes fundraising much harder. Much more, well, not harder, but more complex. So Balaji, last year, he wrote an article called Mirror Table, and he specifically talked about this problem. He was saying that right now with the more emergent technology or infrastructure, like we have stablecoins, we have on-chain identity, we have smart contract layers, right now we could literally build a one-stop shop for fundraising for angel investors, VCs, and founders. And this is how he envisioned. In traditional Web2 fundraising fashion, people use DocuSign to sign contracts, people use traditional bank wire to wire the funds, and people use tools like Carta or AngelList to manage the cap table. But what if this could be all embedded into one and using smart contract power? So as I mentioned before, token started to become a supplementing tool, or is replacing the traditional equity stock for many projects. And how to do fundraising for a token project usually looks like this. There's mostly three phases, and I know there's a lot of crypto founders down there. We can discuss this later. But usually, a more proper fundraising flow would be a preparation phase where the founders and investors, they negotiate deals, negotiate terms, and draft contracts using lawyer to draft contracts, and they have to use tools like DocuSign to sign contract, and then they need to use like separate tool to wire funds in fiat or crypto. But since we're on Web3 right now, the using stablecoins to fund projects become more and more common these days. And then you oftentimes use spreadsheets like Excels or like cap table management tools like Carta to do cap table management. And when token launch day, they need to pray for the founders to, hey, this is the unlocking term, this is the vesting schedule, so you better just distribute the tokens to this address, and then they could go through all that. So all these different sectors are pretty fragmented to each other. The user experience, you need to use platforms, applications across different platforms, Web2 and Web3, and sometimes it's just a pain in the butt. So what does ETHSign offer? So what ETHSign do is to tackle all these sectors, we specifically have a legal templates that we co-branded and also co-authored with some of the top law firms in this world. And we offer the ETHSign signatures, which offer a Web3 ETH signature solution and enabling payment directly upon contract signing. And we have Token Table. Token Table is a cap table management tool directly for Web3 founders. And what it does is a bit more powerful than the traditional tools, and I will get to that a bit later. So today, ETHSign signatures, we have 150K unique addresses, and these are the organizations have been using ETHSign for the past year, and these are some of the user traction. So for contract signing, basically we enabled traditional normal Web2 users or Web3 users to come in very easily by simply logging with their on-chain or off-chain identity. Recently, we integrated SynPass in our nest so that Singapore citizens can log into ETHSign, which they will go through some cases where they don't need to be KYC, KYC. And of course, ETHSign generates signatures based on their private keys. So here is a very short demo of what you'll be able to do. You could text edit your text, sign, and drop signature field, and do other cool stuff. The UI is similar to DocuSign, I would say, but it was totally decentralized, and the contract itself will be stored in decentralized storage, and the metadata of the signature generated will be stored on EVM compatible and other blockchains. And to talk a little bit more about what we offer, we provided legal templates collaborating with some of the top law firms in this world, including like Cooley law firm, who invented SAFT contract, which stands for Simple Agreement of Future Token, as well as collaborating with Orange DAO, with City, and some other law firms to create this legal templates as a public good for all the Web3 founders to be able to use. And not just like for the fundraising documents, we also provide like NDAs, MOUs, all the other types of contracts that, and some of them will be linked, directly linked with smart contract usage. And on eSign, on top of signing, what we offer is different from DocuSigns. Basically this is a contract sign and pay feature, where after the investor invests or sign the contract, they can directly wire the funds through eSign with different stablecoins solutions on different various chains, and there will be an NFT certificate as a receipt upon investment. So how are you going to claim your tokens in the future? Is you're going to use this NFT to deal with the metadata of how much token you own, with what this token, with what vesting schedule and locking period, you'll be able to find it over there. And in the future, we can do some fancy stuff like fractionalize it, trade it, and do OTC market, that kind of stuff. Also, we offer multi-sig is a demand, so we simply integrated Gnosis. And so token table, yes. So after you prepare your contracts using legal templates, after you sign the contract using eSign, and hopefully the VC or the angel investor pay wire the fund. Now, what we create is this token management dashboard, which will record accurate, up-to-date data for the token cap table, which specifically says about how much token does each of the stakeholders own, how much token does the founders own, does the investors own, does the team members own, and the community, and what's the unlocking period, what's the locking schedule look like for each one. And because eSign token table is interconnected, so using eSign to sign the traditional fundraising document, it will generate the token table dashboard automatically for you. So that's how we convert legal agreements to smart contract. And for any projects that wanted to simply just use the token table as a token distribution method, you can also easily be able to do so. So for for projects and VCs, one of the common pain for them is they oftentimes using Excel spreadsheets to manage all the stakeholders' information or portfolios. I've seen investors have like 100 portfolio companies, and they just sometimes it's really hard to manage all those. And it's very error prone. If you misspell one address information, then you might not be able to get your token, and vice versa. For founders, if you have more than 20 investors, and whenever you started to distribute your token based on your vesting schedule, it's oftentimes very manual. And you have to do it, let's say, it will create a lot of burden for the back office as well. So for our smart contract features at Token Table, we basically allow founders to create a vesting schedule based on their legal contract. Then you can customize it based on whatever cliffs or whatever linear schedule you want. And what's cool about this is, first, the cost efficient. So we are the lowest cost among other industry competitors, and you can basically skip and start, which means that even if you're already manually distributing your token for a while, you can still integrate our front end or call our front end to call our smart contract to distribute tokens in the middle of your distribution. And also single deployment is you just only need to deploy once, and you no longer need to maintain your tokens, token distribution in the future. So if there's any founders here today want to try out the solution, let us know. So lastly, how our smart contract has been integrated is we have recently done a proof of concept use cases with Juicebox. So Juicebox is probably one of the largest fundraising platform out there, and basically they integrated our eSign token table smart contract to do fundraising and token distribution. And and in the future, as I mentioned, what eSign tries to offer is we're offering this full stack we're offering this full stack of tools and applications for Web3 founders and investors to better manage fundraising, capital management, token distribution, and we're also helping any non-Web3 founders who is building a scalable technology to be able to help them to set up a token entities, help them raise, and to enter into this token market. We believe right now we're in the middle of the bear market, and there's a lack of projects, lack of investors. But we do believe that if crypto industry wants to get more mature, similar to the traditional equity market, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There needs to be more transparency, more standardized rules, and products like us to help to manage this better industry. So at the end, I want to say, if you are founders, if you are organization users or investors who are facing similar problems or want to talk to us, me and Rishi, we're going to be here all day, and let us know. And also visit our website at ethsign.xyz, and we would love to serve whatever needs you want. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Kota. So for our next speaker this afternoon, we have the co-founder of Zango, Lihan Li, and he'll be sharing with us on exploring enterprise adoption and challenges in Korea's Web3 landscape. So yes, can we have Lihan, please? Oh, so sorry.
Okay. Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Lihan. I'm obviously from South Korea. I just came from KBW last week. And we'll be talking about exploring enterprise adoption. So I think this is a theme that we're probably really obsessed in. We think enterprises are very important for the overall Web3 community in terms of adoption. And it's actually my second time to speak for Infracon. I spoke in Infracon 2 months ago in Paris. And thank you for having me here. And I heard that there are over 400 side events here in Turkey in 2014. It used to be 200 last year, so it almost has doubled. And I think it's kind of a sign that conferences are being decentralized, really. And I'm glad to be here. Okay, let me just start with a brief introduction about ourselves. We define ourselves as a comprehensive service and solution provider to drive Web3 adoption. Our expertise lies in our research capabilities, information and data process capabilities, especially in terms of launching data processing. So we run about 300 servers internally. Also in AWS like cloud systems, but we also run our own service in our IC, which makes us very competitive in terms of cost efficiency. We provide our services in two forms, basically. One would be our EaaS, which stands for ERP as a service, so specific for Web3. And the other part would be our data research solution. So our EaaS has basically three components. One would be our Web3 finance components. It's a very efficient tool for Web3 foundations or enterprises who are adopting Web3 to deal with their on-chain finance. And our performance analytics, we provide a no-code solution for projects to assess their key performances. And our focus lies in joining not only those joining the on-chain data with their internal off-chain data. And now our token engineering part, that's a tool to assist our token supply management. Especially in South Korea, retail investors tend to care about token supply management. So if you have a token supply schedule, and and retail investors, they constantly ask whether or not we're sticking to the schedule. So that's one of the reasons why we're focusing on token engineering to provide a tool for foundations to deal with that issue very efficiently. And the other part, our data and research solution, we have our Zango portal, and you can browse it Infracon right now, Zengo.io would be our URL. And it's an open global research platform. So it's truly open, and that many research houses who are very competitive research articles are free to upload their research article into our platform. And we also have a very global distribution network, including Bloomberg or CoinMarket. So it's very unique that it's open, global, and then it has a lot of distribution network. And our blogs forum, it's actually literally a blogs forum, but it's also interlinked with our other products. So it's not only is it blogs forum, but we think blogs forums are a place where projects can, it's a place where all folders come together, and it's a kind of an official homepage for most of the products. So we do provide that. And advisory, we're working with a lot of enterprises in South Korea and in Japan, and also here in East Asia as well. And we basically help them to find answers why they should adopt Web3. And after they're convinced coming to the space, we help them how, and we connect them with key infrastructure providers to help them to pursue their goal. Yeah, and this is a very brief history of Web3 infrastructure. Like, it all began in 2009, when Bitcoin came out. And after 6 years, we had Ethereum, which was the first smart contract platform for everyday developers to upload their smart contracts. And it allowed, in 2017, to a phenomenon, what we call an ICO boom, where we had many projects promising a lot of things to disrupt the traditional industry, and they were able to use Ethereum's infrastructure to raise funds from hundreds or maybe thousands of retail investors around very efficiently. And then bear market came, still infrastructure developed, and in 2019, Oracle's allowed us to integrate off-chain data into our on-chain space, and which led to the bull market a year later. We had DeFi summer, and then the demand for infrastructure in our on-chain space exploded. And Ethereum, although Ethereum increased its capabilities very efficiently, it wasn't enough, so which led to other layer 1 networks to emerge. And we also had roll-ups to emerge in 2021, and other applications like E2E, DAOs, EFA NFTs, and the things you guys all know. And now, in the midst of another bear market, we're talking about modular blockchains, ZK-VMs, LSDs, decentralized sequencers, and account extraction is also a very important theme right now. And those kinds of building blocks are being laid to start another move on in another phase where another level of application will be possible for everyday users. So, so my thesis is like our infrastructure has already become sort of scalable. Of course, we have a long way to go, but still, we not compared to the application space. In my opinion, our infrastructure has become scalable. Now we have a lot of alternative layer 1s that have a lot of capacity for applications to run. Gaming companies even run their own mainnets to run their own services, as well as they want to expand their ecosystem to other smaller gaming companies. The Ethereum ecosystem is also evolving, pursuing their modular network architecture, as well as the rollup, whether it's optimistic rollups or ZK rollups. So the overall capacity of the Ethereum ecosystem is also expanding. And of course, we have a lot of other supporting infrastructures that helps to ensure the overall Web3 ecosystem. But on the other hand, the application layer is not performing that well recently. This is a round of rate of adoption of X Infinity. And the primary reason behind this is the reason behind why so many users have been adopting to Web3 native application was basically to earn incentives. And in a bull market, the expectation also grows, but once the market sentiment turned into a bear market, there isn't much expectation to earn incentives for native Web3 applications. So a lot of users left, and believe me, this is one of the good cases. So many other Web3 native applications suffer from loss of, even worse, loss of user escape. And so my suggestion is that we need a robust industrial presence in our ecosystem. So if you look at the traditional economy, you not only have finance, but you also have traditional industries to make the overall ecosystem very stable. So on the right-hand side, this is a industrial map of S&P 500, and the area is proportional to their market cap. And the lower left, this rectangle, that represents finance. The larger part represents the non-financial industry. And what you can see is that the finance only is very small compared to the rest of the industry. But if you look back to our ecosystem, we have, I think, pretty much solid ground for our DeFi applications. So we have a lot of good applications. We have laid a lot of infrastructure towards a decent DeFi ecosystem. But in terms of industry adoption into our Web3 infrastructure, we have a long way to go. And which makes our overall ecosystem very susceptible to market conditions. This is our unfulfilled promise during the ICO raising back in 5 years ago. We, as an industry, raised about over 18 billion for over 700 ICO projects, and they all promised to disrupt the traditional industry in all areas. Including infrastructure, finance, communications, payments, energy, social media. So that would be almost all industry fields in the traditional economy. And 5 years later, what's the outcome? Only very few projects are left and pursuing the initial goal. And in my opinion, it was back in 5 years ago, it was a little bit too early. So it just takes a little bit of time. We had the reliable and scalable infrastructure back then. We're getting mature. Right now, mass-friendly user experience, we have a long way to go in terms of that aspect. I have a lot of expectations for account inspection, so I think it will improve the user experience very much. And in terms of regulatory clarity, although we're getting constant pushback from the regulatory side, in a broad sense, I think we're getting acknowledged as one of the key industry players from the overall economy. And bringing traditional businesses into Web3 will definitely help. So Reddit, for example, was able to bring in non-Web3 users into our space in a very short period of time. SK Planet, their membership program called OK Cashback, it's the largest membership program in South Korea, and they were also successful in onboarding non-Web3 users into our space. And this is a great example of how traditional enterprises are being successful in terms of Web3 adoption. And what do they need? So among many others, I would like to mention 3 parts. So compliance operations, it's important to get rid of the legal risk. Internal operation management would be very important for them because they tend to work based on KPIs, and formal IR operations also very important for them because otherwise, if they don't care about it, they would be exposed to reputation risk. And These are our solutions to each of their needs. So our Web3 Finance module would help them to deal with their financial compliance requirements. Our tokenomics engineering would help them to deal with managing their token supplies. And our performance analytics module will help them to keep their key performance indicators and also join their internal data with the on-chain data to get an overall picture. And our research hub, LiveWatch and Single Analytics, that will be our public part of our product. So the other parts would be for the internal users. These are the components that are designed to deal with external communications, and research is also very important to position themselves in overall Web3 ecosystem. LiveWatch is a proof tool for them to prove that their current circulating supply doesn't exceed their initial supply schedule, and our Zangle Analytics is a tool to distribute the key performance indicator to the research community as well as the holders. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much for having me, and looking forward to other speakers.
Thank you so much for sharing us more about